Yes, sir. What's up, good people? It's your boy, the boy Henry Hick, back at it again with another video. Yes, sir, Bob. We are back, and I've stumbled upon a conversation that tickled my fancies on X, formerly known as Twitter, and one of the homies shared it with the boy. The big homie, Will 777JP, shared it with the boy inside of the Discord, the Just Playing Discord. Head on over there, stop on by, join up, have a conversation with the good people. Super friendly Discord. It get hot, it get heavy in a non-sexual way, of course. You feel what I'm saying? And before I go any further, I just want to say I appreciate you for coming through, clicking on the video. We appreciate it if you drop a like. We appreciate it if you participate inside the conversation down inside of the comment section. And like I said, head on over there to that Discord. But let's get on into it, baby. Individual says, good Christ, this list is bad. Reskins, DLC of PS4 titles, annual editions of the show, and unreleased games just to make it look decent. PlayStation fans going out sad. We got the good brother King Thrash, the Gatekeeper. What did Switch 2 launch with? The good brother, the big homie, Will 777JP, Mario Kart and Donkey Kong. Oh, and old games that look no different on the Switch 2. Sticks, keep acting like that's a soft launch. LMAO. The hilarity that ensued. The big homie. So it ain't a soft launch? Question mark. Sticks, first 3D DK in 20 years equals soft launch, period. That alone has more weight than checks notes, DLC, a remake, a pack-in title, LMAO, a pack-in title that was free, by the way. And of course, this is opinion. I personally don't care, but the conversation is interesting. Like, I personally don't care about his opinion in particular. I just care about the conversation. And all of this is from this right here. Let's scroll on down to the original post 3 days ago. PlayStation 5 generation as a whole versus Switch 2 year one. Glad to know we won't be sitting around waiting for games, showcases for the next 5 years like we have the past 5 years. Okay, clearly shots at PlayStation for not showing up in various different ways for the fans, and PlayStation Nation as a whole has spoken up against it. My take on it has remained the same. I don't give a fuck about a roadmap. I cannot play news. I can only play games, baby. And here recently, I've gotten a bit more aggressive as far as them releasing games on account of I like multiplayer games. I don't mind if the games you release are multiplayer. That's not the same sentiment echoed from the vocal majority of the PlayStation Nation on X. They want single player games, but we not getting single player or multiplayer, so now we getting nothing. So yeah, now I got to speak up for sure, because we not getting nothing. But let's look at this situation as far as the pictures. Continuous release of major titles through strong franchises and new IP. 2021 we got Horizon GT7, 2022 God of War, 2023 Spider-Man 2, 2024 Astro Bot Game of the Year, 2025 Yote, Death Stranding 2, upcoming Wolverine and Intergalactic. No dates for those. We have zero idea when these games are coming. Zero official word, only rumors and salt and gossip. Now let's take a step back. Take us a gander at this Switch 2 list. Demo available. This game is already out. Donkey Kong Bonanza, Hyrule Warriors, Kirby Outriders, Mario Kart World is out, Pokemon, and Metroid Prime 4. Which is interesting, because individual made reference to, speaking about games that aren't out. Yet, on this very list, he himself posted are games that are not out. So, let's take it on back. And the main thing I want to say about this is, comparing, if you just sit down and look at it, let's just sit down and be logical and look at it. Comparing Nintendo's output versus PlayStation's output, I look at it and say, Nintendo can fart out these type of games left, right, front, and center today, tomorrow, the next day, the next day, the next day, because it doesn't take a whole lot to create these games. You know what I mean? It's part of the reason why I refuse to pay. Is why I just don't believe that Nintendo should be charging $70, $80 for the game. You know, it's not of that quality. It's not a next gen game in comparison to the current gen as it stands right now with what we get with Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. You know what I mean? And you out here charging more. You know, and I just don't. I mean, you spend your money on what you want. This is my take. This is my take on it. And so, since it requires less, it's cheaper. And I'm not shitting on Nintendo by saying it, because PlayStation can do the exact same shit. And I think they should. I think PlayStation should focus on making AA games. I think they should focus on, you know, building spin-offs from these franchises that they built, that, you know, maybe 12 to 15 hour experiences and selling those for $45-$50. Put one of those out every 2 years. You know what I mean? To make sure that we have something from PlayStation themselves for the PlayStation gamer to engage with. It could be single player, whatever. I mean, it would behoove them to make them single player. You know what I mean? Because it wouldn't be a loss of quality, in my opinion, for them to produce smaller games. You know what I mean? Smaller games with smaller budget. Because, like they say, they got the best developers in the world. And they developing on the easiest hardware there is to develop for in the world. So it's not outside of the realm of possibility that they could create AA of quality, not at quality, of quality in 2.5 years, 2 years. You know what I'm saying? I believe they can do it. They can for sure do it. Some people might say they crunching any fucking way. You know what I mean? They crunching any fucking way. They're not working for free. They getting fucking paid. So, like, crunch is just the nature is the nature of the beast. You know what I mean? In my opinion, I'm not one of those individuals who are outraged by crunch. It is what it is. You know, if they don't like the crunch, they don't like the job, you can quit. You know, crunch is a byproduct of poor time management and mismanagement as a whole. In my opinion, some folk could disagree, and you know, labor laws, etc. But that aside, I do believe that PlayStation could match what Nintendo doing. It's just the key difference of there's an expectation of a certain level of quality when a game pop out and it got that PlayStation logo on the front, when it's produced by a PlayStation studio. You know what I mean? Inside of this exchange, Concord was brought up, you know, because people like to bring up Concord because it was shut down in 2 weeks and it had its issues and whatnot. Thing about the Concord was the Unreal 5 engine game, performed excellent. Multiplayer game, you weren't falling through the map, there were no ghost bullets, there was no glitching. It performed. It was of quality. Especially in a time like today, where you getting tons of Unreal 5 games and it's not performing, you know? So we shit on Concord because it was pulled quickly, but what you can't shit on Concord for is the gameplay. You can't shit on Concord for the performance, because all that was there. That was quality. You know what I'm saying? So even at their lowest, they still put out a quality game, you know? And the expectation from Nintendo from its game, it just gotta be fun. It just gotta be fun. It don't gotta look great. It just gotta be a fun game. The story ain't gotta be worth the fuck. You know, just have some mechanics I can engage with, jump around, cool music, stress free, and use one of the characters we've been used to seeing for the last 30, 40 years. You know what I'm saying? And that's gonna hit, because the audience expectation is different. You can't do that over here on no PlayStation. You know what I'm saying? Because if you could, PlayStation All-Stars would have hit. It's a whole bunch of games that would have hit and continuously hit over time if that's what the fan base wanted. If that's what they wanted. You think if Killzone sold fucking 20 million, we wouldn't still be? Yes, we would still be getting 20 million. The game done spoke. We don't want no Killzone. I personally do. But as a whole, we don't want no Killzone. It was something came out talking about a Sly Cooper game. How many? I think it was Sly Cooper. How many developers at this studio do you think percentage-wise would be on board for a Sly Cooper game? Dude said like 10%. These games ain't getting made because they don't want to make them. They do not want to make them. You know what I'm saying? They want to focus on fidelity, storytelling, and you know, mechanics. That's what they want to focus on. And if they produce something that ain't hitting on those cylinders, it's gonna be a waste of a couple $100 million. At the least. At the least. You know what I'm saying? So in my mind, it's like this platform got this many games. Look at the audience for the platform. Look at the type of games the platform is known for pushing. You know what I mean? Because if you look at this and you see one platform is producing something of lesser quality, it don't require all this extra work and all this other stuff and money and face scans and all this other stuff that modern AAA gaming requires, of course you're gonna be able to produce a ton of those quicker. Of course. Now I'm not gonna say, oh, they're just making mobile games, even though I am gonna say that because I do feel like they're just mobile games. You know what I mean? Your phone could play them and play them probably better if you got one of the current gen phones now. You know what I'm saying? Because these phones, you got iPhones out here playing fucking Death Stranding and Resident Evil and things like this. And I don't want to come off as I'm hating or shitting on Nintendo, because I'm not. They just make different shit for different people. And when you make this kind of thing for those kind of people, you got a certain level of leeway. You know what I mean? And Nintendo know what the fuck they doing. They know what the fuck they doing. They shows. They know what the fuck they doing with the games they putting out. They ain't gotta break their back. You know what I'm saying? They making money hand over fist on these games. You can't tell me they spending a ton of money making these games, because they not. They just aren't. You know what I mean? They did an awesome job putting out a last gen console this gen. That was a super brain move. That was a 5-head move right there. That's a 5-head move right there. Whoever made that decision, genius. Genius. The parts for their hardware cheap. You know, the engines they using to make what they want to make. They not breaking a sweat over there. Chilling. Meantime, you got PlayStation over here. They can't let them put out something like that if they want to. It's gonna be the end of them. It's gonna be the end of them. And the very same people who speak about the product that Nintendo put out and how great it's amazing, if PlayStation were to do something just like that, they'll be clowning PlayStation. They're gonna be the main ones clowning them. The main ones. And it's their business, do what you want to do. But you know, that's just my take on it. You know what I mean? We have these conversations, platform versus platform. They go to show you though, the competition ain't gone. The competition is not dead. It's far from dead. You know what I mean? Because when Xbox was leaving, it was like, oh, PlayStation ain't got no competition. PlayStation ain't got no competition. The competition, I believe, was going to stay anyway, because it's going to be studio versus studio. You can't buy all the games. Somebody's game is going to get bought over somebody else's game. You know what I mean? So the studio, at the very least, the studio is going to have to compete. At the very least. But it is cool to see like healthy competition and banter on the timeline, back and forth, this platform, Nintendo versus PlayStation. And that's just the way of it, bro. That's just the way of it. It's funny. And I mean, as long as you don't get disrespectful to nobody and call people out their name, and you know, as long as you don't take it down. You know what I'm saying? It's just some playful banter and whatnot by video games, and it's cool. And like I said, the competition ain't went nowhere. It's alive and well. That's all I got for you right now. Drop a like, drop a comment, drop a subscribe if you want. I'll catch y'all in the next one.